Hi everybody, my name is Boss Mode Billy. I like to make gaming content as well as other videos. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you love Roblox as much as I do. I'm going to do more gameplay videos and walkthrough tutorials in the future, so make sure you ring that bell for notifications. Welcome back to Too Many Weapons. Are you a part of the Boss Mode Nation? Let me know in the comments below if you are Boss Mode. Let's get into it, gamers. The mainstream media often portrays Jesus as a solely spiritual figure, downplaying his role as a social and political activist who challenged the status quo, in order to avoid discussing the radical implications of his teachings. This watered-down version of Jesus is presented to the public as a gentle, meek, and mild figure who only cared about people's spiritual well-being, completely ignoring the fact that he was a fierce critic of the corrupt systems of his time. By reducing Jesus to a one-dimensional character, the media avoids having to confront the uncomfortable truths that his teachings reveal about the nature of power, wealth, and inequality. As a result, the general public is left with a distorted view of Jesus and his message, one that is more palatable to those in power, but completely at odds with the historical record and the actual teachings of the man himself. This simplistic and sanitized portrayal of Jesus has become so pervasive that it's often difficult for people to imagine that there could be more to the story, but the truth is that Jesus was a complex and multifaceted figure who challenged the powers that be in ways that are just as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. By whitewashing Jesus' message, the media can prevent his story from inspiring contemporary social movements and rebellions against oppressive systems, thereby maintaining the power of the existing elite. When Jesus is portrayed as a solely spiritual figure, his teachings on issues like economic justice, imperial critique, and nonviolent resistance are conveniently ignored or downplayed. As a result, the revolutionary implications of his message are lost on the general public, and the potential for his teachings to inspire and mobilize people to challenge unjust systems is greatly diminished. By sanitizing Jesus' message, the media can prevent his story from being used as a catalyst for social change, and instead, use it to reinforce the status quo. This is precisely what has happened throughout history, where Jesus' teachings have been co-opted and distorted by those in power to justify their own privilege and oppression, rather than being used to challenge and transform systems of injustice that he so passionately critiqued. By keeping Jesus' radical message under wraps, the media can help to maintain the power of the existing elite and prevent the kind of grassroots movements and rebellions that have the potential to bring about real change and challenge the dominant systems of power. This is why it's so important to reclaim the true message of Jesus and to understand the historical context in which he lived and taught, in order to appreciate the full implications of his teachings and the potential they hold for inspiring social transformation. This narrative is further reinforced by the media's tendency to focus on individual, personal aspects of Christianity, such as faith and salvation, rather than the collective, communal aspects of Jesus' teachings, which emphasize justice, equality, and compassion. By shifting the spotlight away from the social and political implications of Jesus' message and onto the individual's personal relationship with God, the media can create a narrative that is more focused on individual piety and moral purity rather than collective action and social responsibility. This has the effect of reducing Christianity to a purely private affair, where the primary concern is one's own personal salvation, rather than the well-being of the broader community. As a result, the media's portrayal of Christianity tends to be highly individualistic, emphasizing the importance of personal faith, prayer, and devotion, while downplaying the importance of social justice, community organizing, and collective action. This is a far cry from the teachings of Jesus, who consistently emphasized the importance of caring for the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed, and who called his followers to work towards creating a more just and equitable society. By ignoring these communal aspects of Jesus' teachings, the media can create a narrative that is more focused on reinforcing the status quo, rather than challenging the systems of power and privilege that perpetuate inequality and injustice. This has the effect of rendering Christianity irrelevant to the most pressing social and political issues of our time, and reducing it to a mere personal preference, rather than a powerful force for social transformation. The media's distorted portrayal of Jesus also serves to justify and legitimize the actions of powerful institutions, such as governments and corporations, which often claim to be Christian while pursuing policies that contradict Jesus' teachings on issues like poverty, war, and environment. By presenting Jesus as a benign, apolitical figure who is primarily concerned with individual salvation, the media creates a narrative that allows these institutions to co-opt Jesus' message and use it to justify their own self-interest. This is evident in the way that politicians and corporate leaders often invoke Jesus' name and teachings to justify policies that are deeply at odds with his message of love, compassion, and justice. For example, Jesus' teachings on the importance of caring for the poor and the vulnerable are often ignored by politicians who claim to be Christian, yet pursue policies that exacerbate poverty and inequality. Similarly, Jesus' teachings on the importance of nonviolence and reconciliation are often disregarded by governments that claim to be Christian, yet engage in wars and military interventions that cause immense human suffering. By presenting Jesus as a figure who is primarily concerned with individual morality and personal salvation, the media creates a narrative that allows these institutions to perpetuate their own interests and agendas while claiming to be faithful to Jesus' teachings. This is a form of ideological manipulation, where the media uses Jesus' message to legitimize the actions of powerful institutions, rather than holding them accountable to his teachings on justice, compassion, and love. As a result, the media's portrayal of Jesus serves to reinforce the power and privilege of these institutions, rather than challenging them to live up to the values and principles that Jesus taught. Ultimately, the mainstream media's lies about Jesus contribute to a broader cultural amnesia, where the historical Jesus and his revolutionary message are erased from public consciousness and replaced with a sanitized, apolitical figure who poses no threat to the dominant ideologies and power structures of our time. By distorting Jesus' message and reducing him to a benign, spiritual figure, the media perpetuates a form of cultural forgetting, where the radical implications of his teachings are lost on the general public. This has profound consequences, as it allows the dominant ideologies and power structures of our time to maintain their grip on society, unchallenged by the subversive and transformative message of Jesus. The result is a culture that is increasingly disconnected from its own historical and spiritual roots, and where the values of justice, compassion, and love that Jesus taught are marginalized and ignored. As we continue to live in a world marked by inequality, oppression, and violence, it is more important than ever to reclaim the true message of Jesus and to remember the historical context in which he lived and taught. By doing so, we can begin to challenge the dominant ideologies and power structures of our time and work towards creating a more just, equitable, and compassionate world where the values of love, justice, and mercy are at the forefront of our collective consciousness. The media's lies about Jesus are a form of cultural manipulation designed to keep us in a state of ignorance and complacency. But by seeking out the truth and remembering a revolutionary message of Jesus, we can begin to break free from the chains of oppression and work towards a brighter, more just future for all. Thanks for watching! If you want to see more of this content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. Peace out, gamers!